Hello everybody, this is Yana here once again, and welcome to another toy review. And as you can see, we're changing up the review background a little bit because I'm shifting the camera to the right because this is a very special figure review because I already have the figure out there. As you can read from the title, this is the Bear Model Alien Mephilas 2 by, of course, Bear Model. Now, this is a very special release because I couldn't find a lot of information on it. Now, I know this is a legitimate release from Bear Model. It is their Alien Mephilas 2 figure cast in glow-in-the-dark plastic, or the light-storing glow-in-the-dark plastic, but I'm not sure what the release schedule of this thing was. Maybe it was a mail-away, maybe it was something else, because the regular color version had a limited run of 333 copies at the 2007, I believe, Super Festival. But in any case, this is their version. I purchased this figure loose. I do not think it came with any packaging whatsoever. And let's get on with the review. Although it may appear as an amorphous white blob at first, zooming in you can see a lot more detail. I'm actually going to be filling the figure around while this is in zoom just so I can show off some of the detail because it's a little bit hard to see the amount of intricate sculpt work that went in here. Now, this figure is a little bit like Cosmo Liquid, if you've seen that review already. If you haven't, go check it out on my channel. But a lot of the figure itself is relatively smooth, but hidden within a lot of the smooth parts is actually a lot of very good sculpting. Now, this is the light that's on Mephilas' mouth, and as you can see, it's poked with a bunch of dots. The beard thing looks fine the way it is. This part looks nice with the crisscross stitching on it, or whatever how it is. The eyes look okay, and the ears have a little bit of detail in there. The hands are looking fine with the right creases and folds in the costume. The abdomen with the Mephilas pattern looks fine, and the legs are nice and long. Of course, the neck itself is correctly out of proportion, and the back of the figure is one of the nicest parts because it has a lot of cracks and folds and uneven textures that the suit should have had. On the bottom of the feet, we have the labels, if we can see them. Alien Mephilas 2, Mephilas Seiji Nidaime, and on the other side, Tsuburaya Puro for the copyright, and Bear Model for the maker. Zooming out, you can kind of see that this is really a nice looking figure the way it is. It's fairly huge as well, compared to the 100 scale Char's Zagok back there. Yes, I'm getting the Gundam too, so yay. If you want to see any reviews of that, leave a comment below and we'll talk about it. But in any case, the detail on this thing is, I believe, to be a little bit superior to the Bullmark Cosmo Liquid, but still doesn't match the amazing details that were on the Bullmark Gandar, or not Gandar, Dengar. Duh. Alright, so with detail out of the way, let's get on to articulation. For a humanoid figure, this thing is surprisingly articulated by today's standards, but by the standards back then, since this is a figure trying to copy what was established as the Bullmark norm, it's fairly standard in terms of articulation. The head rotates 360 degrees with no issue whatsoever. The arms rotate 360 degrees and they rub up slightly against the thighs, but it's not a huge deal, and since this is fairly soft vinyl, you can nudge it through. And the legs rotate 360 degrees, and their inner rings slightly clash with each other, but it does not make enough of a difference to really do anything. The figure stands fine on its own, and the articulation is fine the way it is. Before we finish going on to size comparison, let us just talk about the fact that this figure should have come with an accessory. The regular color variants that Bear Model released for their officially colored Alien Mephilas, which looks great, and I really want to get one of those, comes with the Mandarin plant that it was depicted holding in Ultraman Taro to paralyze children. Unfortunately, this glow-in-the-dark release does not come with the plant, and it's kind of disappointing. Also, since this is a glow-in-the-dark release, there is not a splotch of paint on this entire figure, which is very much of a shame, and I would repaint it if I didn't value the fact that it's a huge nightlight. So, with that out of the way, let's get on to the size comparison. Now, of course, this is a huge figure, and since it already debuted in my Cosmo Liquid review, you would know that the Bullmark Cosmo Liquid and most other Bullmark figures would scale up very well with it. And yeah, it doesn't look too bad. As far as I'm concerned, that is. The Dengar doesn't look as good next to it because of how short it is, but considering that there seems to be a big height jump in terms of monsters sizing, it doesn't look too bad. And with the Bullmark figures out of the way, let's get on to the part that everybody knows is already kind of a disaster. We're gonna get on to the Bandai figure comparisons now. Of course, those two Bullmarks that I just showed off were Bandai's, but they're Bullmark molds. Let's talk about Bandai's original molds. First up, let's try a DX figure, which obviously wouldn't work if you've seen the Cosmo Liquid review, and it doesn't work here either. Tyrant is dwarfed by an alien that time seems to have forgotten already. And of course, if Tyrant fails, then regular Ultra Monsters won't fare much better. Now, Monsarger is, as you all might know, my favorite monster in the entire Ultraman franchise. And he is one of the beefiest of the Ultra Monster series, and of course he gets towered over too. Without a question. Trying a more Showa kaiju, we're gonna try Mukadendar, because I don't really have a lot of other Taro monsters to really show off. Not to say that, not saying that like I would buy them, because most of them are not that great. And of course, Mukadendar, you know, being the Muka dickhead that he is, it's, you know, the height about reaches his the alien's crotch. So another sex joke somewhere in this review. Yeah. Next up, let's try an Ultra Hero series figure. Let's try Return of Ultraman, Ultraman Jack, the whipping boy of this franchise that can't get anything nice. And well, yeah. Needless to say, this Ultraman won't be coming back anytime soon. And finally, let's use an Ultrac. We're gonna go with the final generation body type because, of course, the Ultra Brothers got their official full releases in the third body type. And of course, it does not fare very well whatsoever. So sizing on this thing, it's very much restricted to basically only what's part of the original Bullmark scales, which is about 8 to 9 inches worth of good-looking vinyl. So in the end, what do I give this guy? I give him a 5 out of 5. There's nothing that this figure does particularly wrong. It's a nice looking toy. The sculpt work is great, if not hidden out by the fact that this is molded in very much a bright plastic that you can't see anything out of. But of course, it's a glow-in-the-dark figure, so what did you expect? Now, this is not a regular glow-in-the-dark figure because it requires exposure to sunlight before it can actually start glowing. But in any case, it's a 5 out of 5 figure. I picked up this particular toy for about $20 on eBay, and if you can find it for under $40, I'd say that's a good deal. If you cannot, well, I'd say pass on it, because chances are you won't miss it in your collection. If you have the original Alien Mephilas, or if you have a better variant that's not the Bandai figure, because the Bandai figure, to be truthful, has a pretty terrible sculpt that they should have updated a long time ago. Even the 500 doesn't look that great, let's be realistic here. I'd say it's enough to keep your Mephilas tastes being satisfied. If you really want this Mephilas 2, you can always get the Gashapon, but in terms of actual figures, this is the only one that we have. But yeah, I'd usually just recommend it to anybody who has an interest or wants to complete a bare model collection of Ultraman Taro, not that there's a lot of monsters to collect anyway. And that's it. The final score is a 5 out of 5. This is Yao9, and I will see you guys next time. Oh, and before we leave, this is footage of my basement because I'm filming this in the morning. And this is the figure as it's glowing in the night. As you can see, it's very bright even after a few seconds of sunlight. Now, keep in mind that this figure will eventually become duller within the course of about a few minutes, and after that it will stop glowing. But if you supercharge it with sunlight, it will be super bright for a good amount of time. And yeah, that's about it. This is Yana, and I'll see you guys next time for real.